For the final stop in our search for the country's more horrifying places, a step inside Chicago, Hull House.
One of America's most malevolent mansions.
I was paralyzed and I absolutely panicked. And it took everything I could to move.
And it was one of the most frightening things that I've actually seen myself right here at Hull House.
Now a museum, Hull House is built in 1956 by a wealthy man, Charles Hull.
Now, Charles Hull stayed here for about 2 years until 1858, and his wife died quite suddenly and unexpectedly from typhoid. He was so saddened by this, he left Hull House never to return.
As Chicago grew around it, the neighborhood deteriorated. So in 1889, legendary social reformer Jane Addams leased the mansion as a headquarters to help the area's poor.
Jane Addams simply wanted to go to the worst neighborhood she could find to help those poor individuals. And the neighborhood that she chose to do it was the poorest neighborhood.
For her good work, Addams became the first American woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize. But Jane soon found she wasn't alone in Hull House. It seems as though Mrs. Hull never actually left.
There were unexplained fires that would break out in the upstairs bedrooms. There was this figure of a woman that was seen in different parts of the house. So it seems pretty clear that it was probably the ghost of Mrs. Hull.
Now, some 140 years after Mrs. Hull's death, she's still stalking the room where she drew her final breath.
The room that we're in right now is the room where Mrs. Hull actually died in 1858. This is the room where the rocking chair was actually seen moving, as well as the curtains being pulled aside on a regular basis. When the ghost comes in here, the chair oftentimes moves, although as if somebody had pushed it like so. And it just sits there and rocks back and forth. Now, we're certain that it's not air conditioning or any of the air ducts in the place.
But if you think moving furniture is weird, we get something guaranteed to scare the devil out of you.
The story of that little devil baby seems to keep coming back and bringing back some of people's greatest fears of the child of the devil living here.
You heard the man. Chicago's most menacing manor is home to Satan's spawn. But how did baby Beelzebub take up residence in Hull House? In 1913, some fool invited him.
The story was that there was a young woman, a devout Catholic young immigrant woman. She was pregnant and getting ready to have a child, and she had hung a picture of the Virgin Mary up in her apartment. And her husband, very anti-religion, got angry and he tore it off the wall and said, you know, I'd rather have the devil himself in my place than have a picture of the Virgin Mary. And then the story goes that he got what he wished for. When their baby was born, it had scales and little horns and a tail and some say cloven hooves. It was this, frightening monstrosity.
According to legend, some people say that the baby was done away with in an upstairs bedroom here at Hull House to rid the world of its diabolical influence. Stories have persisted for years about people who question the most haunted house in Chicago.
Angels are spirits aligned with God. They are positive energy beings that were never human. Some believe there is a hierarchy of angels, each with a specific purpose. Different ways to evoke these spirits have been around for centuries, and they will protect you from dark entities as well as the living. Ghosts are the energy of a person or animal soul that once lived. Ghosts exist in between our dimension and the next. They have not fully crossed over to the spirit realm. Demons are non-human spirits. A demon can appear as many entities to confuse its targets, and to extract more fear energy out of its victims by making their numbers seem greater. Once the victim has been morally broken down over the time, the more powerful demons step in for the possession.
Dios. Vamos pues para arriba, vamos pues para arriba, vamos pues para arriba. Vamos. Mi culo de Dios se demuestra que hay muertos. Vámonos para arriba. Pues. Come on. Vamos. Leven ahí un caballo. Leven. Come on. Vamos. Come on. Leven ahí un caballo. Vamos, arriba. Vamos, come on. Leven.
Top scariest haunted houses in America. Five, Vortex Theaters, New York. You have to see a waiter before even enter in this haunted house. You will also encounter fog, frowning, enhancements, and violence. 4. The Darkness, St. Louis. Clowns and lot of crowns. This puts some of the best horror Hollywood movies to see. There's also a pigman that shudders a lot and failing. 3. 13 Bottom Rush. Most people can't stand the terror, that's why 30 of 15 and living every night. 2. The Den Schoolhouse, Cincinnati. Based on a true story, whether a janitor killed a bunch of kids, whether or not the story is fact, is still known as. All we know is that the haunted house has many. 1. Terror Behind the Walls, Philadelphia. The largest haunted house in America, rated as the scariest haunted house, is also located inside a real abandoned prison, what is believed to be the